We are here today to talk about a process, a very important process that is underway, and that is the public comment period that was as part of the Climate Community Leadership Protection Act, the CCLPA, which most New Yorkers don't even know is going on. At a time when energy prices are at an all-time high, gas prices are at an all-time high, home heating prices are at an all-time high. You see what's going on internationally. Energy policy isn't just a local issue. It's not just a state issue. It's not just a national issue. It is a national security issue. Policies that we put forward here in New York State, across the country, have real-life impacts on men and women, from their jobs to their heating prices to their gas prices, but it also impacts the national security of the United States of America. And we're seeing that today in a way that we haven't seen in a long time. One of the policies being put forward by the Climate Action Council, which is a group of unelected individuals, faceless. Most New Yorkers have never heard of these people. And I can tell you, men and women from labor, men and women who represent the energy industry, are vastly outnumbered. And there's not one consumer representative on this Climate Action Council. There's no one there to represent the person who's going to get the home heating bill, the gas bill, who's paying record prices at the pump. But one of the options this plan is putting forward is the ban on natural gas hookups. This makes absolutely no sense. To ban all this is going to do, like so much of our energy policy for many years, is going to make New York State more competitive. It's going to drive up costs on everyday New Yorkers. It's going to force more people to leave this state, and it's going to hurt the men and women who should be hard at work, making sure they're building energy infrastructure for the future right here in New York State. But instead, we're not building any energy infrastructure. We're banning it, we're limiting it, we're reducing it. Our energy policy over the last several years has been exporting jobs and importing energy. Importing energy from other states, importing energy from other countries. And don't be fooled by the recent efforts of the governor to cast the blame on the energy increases, price increases, on the crisis in Ukraine, on the invasion of Ukraine. These things were going on long before the thug Vladimir Putin decided to invade a democracy. The point is, when things like that happen, they exacerbate, because of our bad policy, they exacerbate a crisis that's already of our own making here in New York State. What we should be doing is working to make sure that people like you're going to hear from here in a second, like Mark Valentini and John Murphy, who represent labor, plumbers, pipe fitters, we should be making sure that those folks have jobs and are building the energy infrastructure of the future. And that energy infrastructure not only will employ New Yorkers, it'll help keep energy prices down. Instead, we ban pipeline projects here in the United States, and we approve them in Europe. Pipeline projects that help fund Vladimir Putin's military, that help fund missiles and bombs that are being used against civilians in the Ukraine. A pipeline that's going to help put, I guess, Germans to work, but not Americans, not New Yorkers. There simply is no rational policy metric that we can put forward to defend the energy policy here in New York State. And the Climate Action Council, putting forward things like banning natural gas hookups in the cover of darkness in a very non-transparent process, is not going to help make things any better. And our conference has stood against the original bill that created the Climate Action Council, and we have spoken out loudly against many of these plans coming forward. But the public needs to know they get a say. They do get a say. Whether or not the Climate Action Council will listen to them remains to be seen. But they do get a say, and we're calling on them. Men and women of labor, consumers, everyday New Yorkers, you get a say. This public comment period runs to April 30th. It is imperative that you make your voice heard on this plan and on the future of energy policy and really the future of the economic viability of New York State.